of healthier eating that I've come up with to support you guys in making some healthier choices. And to be honest, only one of them is actually directly food related. I mean, they're all somewhat food related, but only one is about the actual food you're consuming. So the P's are, I'm going to give it all away up front, but then I'm going to go into some details. Plants, planning, prep, and plating. So number one, plants. Most people don't get enough. For most people, that is lacking. A lot of times for dancers, I know what we run into is that you don't want to eat a bunch of greens before you're dancing. And, you have to stay mindful of bloating and feeling uncomfortable before class and rehearsals and things like that. So you have to get creative for when you work it in. That's part of the planning piece. But make sure that you are working in vegetables whenever you can. And I'm not just talking greens, but greens are super important. You want vegetables to be half your plate. I would say green vegetables are half your plate, and then more colorful vegetables can be in addition to that. If you can't do it at every meal, because I get it, you're dancing, you don't want to be eating all of that right before, have it at dinner. Work it into breakfast. If you have a break after lunch before your next rehearsals, have it at lunch. Lots of dark leafy greens. Potatoes are not bad. They get vilified largely because they have a high glycemic index or because they are made into things like French fries, which are also not always terrible. I'm not saying you should have French fries every day as your vegetable, but it's not the worst idea in the world to eat some French fries here and there. But potatoes can be great. There's even a eating plan, eating style that's fully focused around it, the Dr. McDougall diet. It's all about potatoes, and a lot of people have gotten very healthy eating that way. Starchy vegetables are also okay. They provide a lot of carbs, a lot of energy. The thing to look out for, again, is going to be glycemic index and that spike in blood sugar and then the fall. But if you're eating them with other things, odds are you're going to slow down that speed of blood sugar increase and you're going to be just fine. Beets, carrots, corn, yams, potatoes, taro, plantains, squash, parsnips, these are all starchy vegetables, but can absolutely be integrated into a healthy diet and a great way to just make sure that you're eating more vegetables and covering more your nutrient bases, if you will. But more plants include grains, nuts, seeds, avocados, all are plants. And we want to make sure that those are making up a large portion of your eating plan, no matter how you eat. Obviously, unless you have allergies or something does not agree with you. But for the most part, more plants are going to support you in healthier eating. Planning. Dancers have crazy busy schedules. Without planning, the odds are you're going to end up eating more convenience foods. Odds are you are going to possibly go too long without eating. So this is something that I talk about a lot of the time, the 5-hour food rule. That is my concept. It's not just my concept, but it's a concept that I fully support and I'm a big fan of. But if you go more than 5 hours without eating, you are going to get over hungry, then you might overeat, you might have less physical control over your choices just because you're in a daze of hunger. So you want to be aware of 5 hours and not go past it. That tends to be, for most people, a safe bet. If you're dancing all day and super active, you might have a 3-hour window when you otherwise get to a place where you're hangry and can't control yourself and feel just like out of sorts and want to eat everything in sight. So you have to plan so that you don't get to that place. Mindless eating can also come in if you don't do the planning. And, that's where, again, you go to the store and you just see something, you're like, okay, I'll eat that. And you're not being so thoughtful around it because you can't at that point. You're super hungry and you've kind of lost control. So we want to do this planning ahead of time so that you are able to stay in that healthy headspace and you're making choices that are going to support your body and dancing in a healthy way. Figure out when you can fit in meals and snacks. So, look at your schedule, look at your rehearsal schedule, and think about where you're going to fit in your food. When do you have time, a little extra time to digest a full meal? If you feel like you don't, because sometimes you have 30 minutes for lunch and it's right back to an intense rehearsal where you're going to be moving a ton and you don't want to eat a full meal right before that, split your meal into mini meals. That's one of my favorite things for dancers to do, because otherwise we sometimes end up just snacking and not covering all of our nutritional bases. So divide a full meal into mini meals that you can eat throughout the day. You don't have to pre-portion them out or anything. It's going to be sitting down. Okay, I have 30 minutes. I'm going to eat some of this until I feel comfortable but not full, and then I can go back to rehearsal. Ideally, you want to find times when you can sit down, take a break, and enjoy your meal. Maybe you can go outside for 5 minutes, obviously depending on the weather, but get away from the studio, allow yourself some space so that you're not feeling in a place of stress or overwhelm. If you were overwhelmed by whatever you're working on, you don't want to get or feel overwhelmed as you're eating and trying to relax and enjoy your food and let your body take in the nutrients. P number 3, prep. You want to pick a couple of days out of the week. Maybe you do it on Sundays if you're off, or you don't have rehearsals in the afternoon. Maybe you do it on Mondays if that's your day off. Maybe you prefer to do it in the evening and get it over with and have your days off be just days off. So think about how that's going to work best for you. Pre-cutting vegetables is great. Making things like overnight oats ahead of time is nice, because that could be a snack, that could be a meal, something that's ready to go. Smoothies, I tend to make fresh, but you can combine smoothie ingredients and store them together in the freezer. That way it's going to be a thicker, colder smoothie, which is my preference anyway. Cook grains ahead of time. You can roast vegetables. You can prep proteins. Keep easy options on hand. This also goes into that prep piece. I mean, it's also part of planning, but either way, it goes together. Canned soups, beans, and lentils are great to have on hand. Frozen organic vegetables are great to have on hand. They are typically flash frozen at the peak of freshness, so the nutritional quality is actually quite high, even though they're not super fresh. It's not fresh out of the ground. And then frozen fruit for smoothies and oatmeal add-ins. So, I'll keep frozen blueberries on hand. You can add that easily to oatmeal. And then you can keep any frozen fruits on hand and freeze bananas. I peel them first and then freeze them. So you'll have those on hand for your smoothies as well. I know some people use fresh fruit for smoothies, but partly to me, it's more cost effective for a smoothie to use the frozen stuff. And again, frozen organic is super high nutrient dense, high quality. And then your 4th P for healthier eating is plating. And this is a lot about the actual experience of enjoying your food and sitting and eating. If you don't have plates and flatware that you like to use, go out and buy some, even if you just buy a single beautiful plate and a single beautiful bowl, and those are the ones that you use, because our eating experience should be positive. If you're in a place where it's not super positive, or it's kind of strained, or you've had issues with your relationship with food currently, recently, or in the past, you want to make sure that the eating experience is made nice and enjoyable and positive. So have flatware and plates that you enjoy. Sit down to eat your meal. If you're in the habit of coming home super hungry and standing in the kitchen and shoveling things in because, oh my God, I'm so hungry, commit to sitting down, breathing, and enjoying. Eat slowly. Take some breaths between bites. Make sure that you are taking the time to savor and enjoy your food. Pay attention to want to feel the textures. You want to look at your food and take it in, take in the smells, and give yourself that actual mindful, connected experience, which ties into the next one, which is be mindful. If we watch TV, which sometimes we all do, I'm guilty myself, but if you tune out and you're watching TV and you're not paying attention to what's going on with your food, or how you're putting it in your mouth, or how many bites you're taking, or how much you're eating, and you're totally disconnected, it's very hard to cultivate a positive relationship with food, and it's very hard to actually listen to your body and your hunger cues. And those things are so key to making good food choices, and also just feeling good about how you've eaten and what you've eaten. You want to make sure that you're not overstuffing yourself or under eating for whatever, because maybe you've got goals around your body and you think under eating is the way to get there. Be mindful and pay attention, and never allow yourself to be in that place of deprivation or overeating. That was the fourth P, plating. So my 4 Ps for healthier eating: plants, planning, prep, and plating. I'm curious, what are your Ps? Do you have any extra Ps that I could add for healthier eating? And which of these is missing for you? That's what I want to know. Do you need more focus on the plants? Do you need more focus on the planning? For most of us, one of these pieces tends to fall away. For me right now, it's probably the prep. I just don't feel like I have as much time, and maybe I'm not making time for it, but I'm still trying to commit to making healthy meals, even if I'm doing it the day of. It just would be a lot easier if I started doing a little bit more prep. So, which P for you is lacking? Which one are you going to focus on? Thanks for tuning in, guys. I will catch you next time.